Hello, everybody, and welcome to the latest in our series of Enabling Creativity podcasts. A hopeful, engaging conversation, 10 or 15 minutes worth of conversation with some interesting people from around the print industry. And today, I'm very lucky to have with me, all the way from sunny Florida, Mr. Ken Vanhorn. Good afternoon, Ken. Good morning, actually, where you are.
Good morning. How are you doing, Richard? Thanks
Yeah,
for having me on. Yeah, it is sunny today, actually. It's we've had some storms, but today is sunny. It's nice.
do you know what? My vision is that Florida is sunny every day, so don't spoil it with talk of storms.
Every day in my head is sunny.
Okay, we'll go with that. I like that narrative.
Right.
So, and for those of you watching that don't know who Ken is, he is the Senior Vice President of Mimaki USA. And Ken's joined me today to talk about a brand new event, actually, that Mimaki are in the process of organizing at the moment for December, called the Micro Factory. And Ken, it's probably one of the most interesting things. And I've worked my way around print events for the last 10 years. Around the world, but this one has really caught my interest. Tell us a little bit about what the Micro Factory is.
Well, thank you for that. That's very kind. So yeah, the microfactory is actually something that we coined and that we've been doing for quite a few years. I think since 2015 or so. And we rolled it out initially at some of the larger trade shows that we did, and we came up with this concept of the Mimaki Microfactory being this place or this space where you could use digital print and digital technologies to really create a workflow that traditionally would have been done in an analog way, but you could bring it in and do it either in a very small space, in a small business, a startup business, home-based, what have you, or you could be an established business and just take some of those digital efficiencies and do it faster and better and on demand. And so instead of having to have a 1,000,000 square foot space where I'm sorry, I can't translate that into meters, but a 1,000,000 square foot space, then you could really do it in 100 square feet, or something similar to that. So it was really around that concept. And there's a micro factory could be anything from a textile environment to an industrial environment. You could be doing cell phone cases, you could be doing sportswear, you could be doing signage, right? It really lends itself, because digital print is so flexible. It lends itself to being able to do almost anything in a very efficient and small footprint.
Okay, thank you. So that, from what I'm hearing you say there, that sounds to me like you've taken the notion of digital print, which of course has revolutionized in many ways the opportunities to individualize products for customers, and taken it back from an industrial scale almost down to a sort of mom and pop type scale that anybody really could utilize. Is that am I hearing that right?
Well, absolutely, yeah, and thanks for summarizing that. For sure, that's exactly what it is, and that's really what digital is, right? It allows you to take something from a large scale and make it more efficient and move it into a smaller scale. And case in point, a microfactory can be multiple machines that have been gained together, so that you have a printing device, you have a finishing device, you have maybe something that does the packaging or kitting or what have you. You have some type of software that manages all that, or that provides the files for it, et cetera, right? Or a microfactory could be as simple as, we have our printer cutter units, and a printer cutter is a microfactory in itself. It's one unit that you really can utilize to do everything if you're making stickers, t-shirt transfers, decals, what have you.
I like that. So that kind of creates an inline automated digital workflow, but on the opposite of industrial, which I can't think of. Let's call it residential. That's not right. You wouldn't have it in your house, but the sort of thing that you could, so almost portable.
Absolutely, absolutely. And it's funny you say that you wouldn't have it in your house, but in reality, we have quite a few customers that do have it in their house. Right? They have it in. They've either built a home-based business, a true home-based business, where they've run it in their house, or to probably the broader degree, are the franchises or the small, we like to call them mom and pop, or the small individually run businesses.
And my experience with personalized and customized products, Ken, over the last decade, really, starting way back 10 years ago now with Share a Coke, was that the notion of digital print allowed a million wands to be done, which revolutionized the short run. Well, the short run became one, right. in the print industry. And in many ways, that sort of ran away with itself to an industrial level. And you see these multi-million-dollar bits of kit, in factories and stadiums around the world, and it's great. But actually, what you're talking about is, instead of maybe being a U2 concert where everything is enormous, it's actually a guy with a guitar singing a song. Is that the way that I can see that in my head?
I love that analogy. Absolutely, yeah, that's exactly what it could be. And it could be the individual that's creating it, and you're hitting on something extremely important. At least, my convoluted way of thinking is that this microfactory and digital print really, it started certainly before the Facebooks of the world and the likes, right? But or Meta, I guess it is today. But it started before that, digital print did, but it really followed it, and it followed the everyone wants to be an individual. Everybody is an individual, and everybody has an individual story to tell. And digital print kind of helped social media in a way to adopt that, right? Because now you go into any social media platform and you're able to order these very unique types of clothing or stickers, or different types of decorative items for your home, what have you. And all of that is being enabled by digital print. It's not an analog print that's doing it, because you couldn't do it realistically with analog. You wouldn't be able to do the one-offs or even the short runs, the tens or less, or the hundreds or less in an economical way. So really, digital print enabled that type of business to really take off, and it enabled that individual expression to do that. And, you see it now in design studios, where a design studio doesn't have to spend thousands and thousands of dollars to shop something out just to see if the concept's going to work. They have a digital printer that's in that design studio, and they're able to create the dress that they want, or the garment that they want, or the ad campaign. They, even with as far as and I know we're all over the board, but even with the 3D printers that we have, you can create that individual can of soda and 3D print it, and you can see exactly what it's going to look like before you ever have to go to the next stage of design with it.
So really, again, and forgive me, because I tend to say what I'm hearing, and what I'm hearing is that the microfactory has enabled a generation to be their own brand.
Absolutely has. It's enabled a generation to be their own brand. And as we've, and I'll add one more element to that, as we look more towards sustainability in brands, or we look more towards sustainability in print, the microfactory enables sustainability, because you're doing a one-off. You have less waste. You're producing what you need, where you need it, in the location you need it. So not only are you producing less waste with a printer, or less environmental impact with analog, but you also don't have all the shipping, you don't have all the fuel that goes behind the shipping, et cetera, right? So really, microfactory is a sustainable type of program as well.
Yeah, I like that. That's good messaging as well, and it plays beautifully into my next question as well. So thank you for
that. You're welcome.
So what you've described thus far is a very portable solution, scalable in many ways, but not to an industrial level, because it's not necessary. And what you need to do, I guess, as a company at Mimaki, is take this concept of the microfactory around the country and let people know about it. And I know you've got plans to start that this year over on the West Coast with an event all about textiles and apparel. So you're going to create a microfactory and demonstrate to an invited audience the benefits of everything that we've just discussed.
Absolutely, yeah, and it is a micro factory for a micro audience. It's a very small boutique event where we really choose. We're not doing what typical trade shows will do, right? And there's nothing against typical trade shows, but it's not where you're inviting everybody in to see everything, and in a lot of ways generates a lot of confusion, right? And it certainly generates a lot of questions and generates a lot of ideas of what you could do next. But what we do is we look at a segment. So we this one coming up in December is going to be really around the textile segment, and we're going to be showcasing a couple of micro factories that you can use either from a very small scale, whether it's doing T-shirt transfers, different types of transfer prints, etc., all the way up to, and it was funny that you said it's not really industrial. We're going to show an industrial printer there. That's a digital industrial printer that allows you to really do some long run, high, mid to long run, high productivity, but very economical ways of producing your prints for textile.
Okay, because there's room for both, right? I mean, this was never
Absolutely.
either or. It was never about, it must be digital or it's the joy of what I've experienced over the last few years, Ken, of going around the print world is the variety of solutions that are on offer. But the one thing that I've noticed in that discovery is that the print industry is brilliant at innovation, but not particularly brilliant at communication. In other words, what we look at what we've developed, but we're not going to tell you why. So does this micro factory event, and as you say, an intimate gig, if you like, less Taylor Swift and a bit more you and a guitar, maybe not you and a guitar.
You don't want to see that.
See, now I do, but there we go. But is this, do you feel as though this way of sort of like small and often? So I know the hopes here are, if this event works well in LA, that you're going to almost take this on the road. You're going to be touring with Taylor Swift next year.
That's right.
Around
me and Tay, we're tight.
But that's the goal, right? Is to move it around and let different audiences see it their way. Because the one thing I've learned, Ken, is everybody sees customization differently. So there isn't one answer to one question. It's multiples of both. And I think being a bit more of a detailed event is going to allow you to have that deeper conversation.
Oh yeah, for sure. And it's right. It's really tailored at being a highly relevant event for the audience that is showing up, or who wants to show up. And you just sparked something that I don't typically think about, but it's what we always strive to do. Is we try to provide a lot of relevant content, absolutely, and we try to provide a lot of relevant content not only around the products that we produce, the machines, the hardware that we sell, but also the workflow that those enable. The other side of these events that is equally, if not more valuable to me and to the team that puts this on, is the fact that we get to hear from all the individuals that are doing things, and we get to hear the questions that we never think to ask, right? And so that allows us to be better at not only producing better machines going forward, but also supporting the applications on all of those devices, right? And it allows us to get better training. So the first microfactory is going to be, I think, a phenomenal event, as well as being very boutique and relevant to the textile industry. But that third one that we do for textile is probably going to be even better because we're getting to hear all the questions that are coming from the other two, right? So we're evolving, and it allows us to, it certainly allows me to be a better communicator. And you're right, we tend to be very poor at communication. I hate to say that because I'm on the marketing side for sure, but we tend to be very poor at communication because we tend to be get to this area where we're myopic in a way about what the technology is, not necessarily everything that can be done within the industry.
And this is the thing that I hear more and more in my privileged position as the poker of the wasp's nest rather than the wasp.
Thank you. Thanks for that.
That's okay. Is that the print industry is actually the tech industry? It just doesn't know it yet.
Well, absolutely, and I think we do know it. I think we try to say that that's them and that's not us, and we're we're not quite that cool, or we're not quite that that savvy or what have you. But in reality, the print industry is very much high tech, and it is very much the tech industry, especially when you move into digital, for sure. It's not it's interesting because, at least to me, I love the print industry just because we can not only be techie, but we can also be very boutique. We can be very artisanal, I guess, or artisanal in a way, if I'm using that word correctly. But that's exactly where the coolness in the industry lies, from a print geek, is that
that's good though, Ken, isn't it? Because that brings back the validation of a microfactory is the ability to try different things without fear or favor and without risk or without or not manageable risk, I should say, where naturally the industry over the years, really since invention, has been trying to drive cost out. And the trouble is, when you drive cost out of it, you also drive creativity out of it.
Absolutely, yeah. And if you talk to me for any length of time, you know that I'm always going to circle back to stories about my kids, as any great dad's going to do, right? So, the print really allows us, digital print specifically, allows us to, if you will, make those mistakes, or at least do something very quickly and economically, so that the mistakes aren't as traumatic. And so, there are multiple times where I've brought my kids in on a Saturday, dad of the year, right? But I've brought my kids into work on a Saturday and let them just go nuts and run printers and make T-shirts or what have you, right? And I'd love to say that my kids are extremely bright and above it, any other kid out there, but in reality, they're just kids, right? So they're able to run the printers. They're able to produce their T-shirts or do their stickers or whatever they want to do for school or friends or what have you. And they're able to learn something in a very quick and efficient way, right? Now, on the other side of that, my son last year taught himself how to screen print, and dagger to the heart for a dad who is really in the digital print side, but I was actually extremely proud because he didn't tell anybody what he was doing, and he bought all this equipment, taught himself how to screen print, learned how difficult it was, and the different mistakes, created his own clothing brand, and started selling them, and was doing actually pretty well, but recently has decided to go digital. So I'm super proud now because he's like, you know what, this screen printing is cool and it is very, artisanal, but at the same time, it's really hard. It's really difficult. And I'm not making a whole lot of money doing this. He looked at what we could do digitally and he's like, hang on a second, I can do higher volumes, less work, and be more creative and put more colors in without burning multiple screens. He was all over it. So now he's pushing me to get a printer in the house.
There you go. And that's brought us very neatly back to the notion of the microfactory, isn't it, really? And, largely, I guess, a really good case in point, of what's possible, and the journey of so many print shops, I guess, over the years of discovery and invention and reinvention and reinvention and reinvention, and that's not a criticism. That's actually a compliment. I think any business that isn't looking to reinvent itself is going cold. It just doesn't know it. And it's what my father used to call an elegant death. And you just don't necessarily see it. So I love the fact that your son is the next, and anybody's son coming in, or daughter coming in and going, I'm going to try something. Well, largely they're trying something that somebody else has already tried, but they've got to find out themselves, right?
Absolutely, yeah, and that's what I love about it, is that it's an easy platform, and I see this as we're working with local high schools as well. It's an easy platform to get that next generation of artists to artists, techs, whatever walk you want to go down in life, there's a job in print and there's a job in wide format digital print for any of those individuals, right? And so I love seeing that spark of creativity and seeing the excitement that comes from the students and my kids and others that they see this ability to be creative, to be able to express themselves, but also this is really cool, is that they're becoming entrepreneurs. They're actually finding ways to do things that I could have never imagined doing when I was their age. You know?
That's the thing, right? Yeah, they teach us a lot. Just never admit that. That's my advice.
I freely admit it every day.
Not to them. No, that's the point, really. So, so Ken, listen, December the 6th. Tell us a little bit about where you're going to be, what you're going to be doing. Let the audience who's watching or listening to this know, and also I'm guessing there's a link somewhere, maybe on the bottom of the screen, that they can book a ticket if they wish to come. Tell us what's going to be happening.
Yeah, absolutely. So December 6th, it's going to be in the Los Angeles area at our technology center in Gardena, California. And it's going to be a full day of keynote speakers, of education, some hands-on, different types of things, and really just everything around textile digital printing and what you can do with the digital printers and the partners that we have coming in. So it's not all Mimaki. There are partners that are coming in from the file creation, from workflow, from finishing, et cetera, right? So it really is going to be an event that you wouldn't be able to see at a trade show, or at least you wouldn't be able to see and have the hands-on level that you typically would at a trade show.
Yeah, well, I think it's a great idea. I know you've got plans to take this around the US next year if all goes well in December. So I wish you well with that. And Ken, thank you for your time today. I noticed you missed the obvious link there. It's tailored print done swiftly. Tailored swiftly.
Wow. Oh man, I am in awe. I'm
here all week. What can I tell you? So Ken, listen, thank you for your time. Have a lovely day. Enjoy the sunshine in Florida, and we'll see you sometime soon.
Thank you so much.
Take care.
You too.
Bye-bye.